Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Friday, May 31st, 2024. Let's take a look at the big picture, work our way into the day itself. Just a reminder that we are in what I call a one-year bear market below 220.18, this descending channel top, inside of which we have this clearly defined lower low, lower high dynamic that has played out since the July high of last year, nearly a year long. 220.18, if tested, able to contain monthly, possibly quarterly buying pressures. And once tested, we could fall off to channel support in the months to follow. And that is really kind of the big picture. If we can close above 220.18 over the coming weeks, then we actually have a buy signal through the rest of the year, the following 3 to 5 months or so, then likely to push into the 320s. But we'll be covering that as needed. So, let's take a look at, I'm just going to jump right into the day itself. Now, as you're well aware, we had a sell signal about a week ago below the 185.33 channel bottom. It's a formation we nearly retested on Thursday, backed away as we moved into the afternoon. 185.33 is still there, but I'm just going to call it an intraday resistance level because we actually have a trend line that actually did contain buying pressures yesterday just below the 185.33 level. It is today at 181.93. So I see this as our upward pivot point for the day. Pushing through, opening above 181.93 should yield at least 185.33. And I think if you look at this image that there is a chance, by being a Friday and all, they tend to be higher volatility days, that if we push or open above 181.93, that 192.71 just might be in reach today. I will say this, if we close today above 181.93, 2 to 3 day swing traders should be long over the weekend. I mean, that is a bit of a stretch. I don't mean to encourage something that you might not otherwise do. I know that 2 to 3 to 5 day swing traders like to stay inside the week, uncomfortable going over the weekend with any position whatsoever. But let me just clarify this, that if we settle today above 181.93, 192.71 does become a 1 to 3 day objective. 192.71 is a meaningful channel top that may well contain buying into later, possibly through June, and from there we can fall away again to some variation really of this 157.44 descending channel bottom. But if we test 192.71, you can see that channel bottom will be higher, and we'll apprise you of that level obviously on a day-to-day basis as we move through next week and into later June. So that is the upside. Pushing or opening above 181.93 should yield at least 185.33, possibly 192.71 intraday, where we could top out into later June. And if we do close above 192.71, that is our indication for that 218.99 formation on the daily chart, and as I said earlier, 220.18 on the weekly chart. So closing above 192.71, and I highly doubt whether that will happen today, but it is certainly possible that it will happen by the end of next week, especially if we close today, as I say, above 181.93. Closing above 192.71 does set off a 2 to 3 week buy signal into what I would just call the upper 210s, 218.99, 220 and change on the weekly chart, both of which are dropping at a pretty steady linear pace, both able to contain, they are really the same formation but on different charts, able to contain buying through June and even through the third quarter, and we can fall away from here in a big way. But we're not expecting any of that unless we can close above 192.71, and we're not expecting 192.71 unless we can close today or even open today above 181.93. Until then, we can fall away from 181.93. That is day resistance. And downside, I do have 167.75. That is the low that was put out a couple of weeks ago. There's also a serious Fibonacci level here from the April low against that high that was put out about a week and a half later. Now, preceding 167.75 is 169.76. And for you day traders, I think you can aggressively buy 169.76. And what I mean by that is I came very close to calling that a session containment level, one able to contain daily lows. Holding below 181.93 will keep this area in reach perhaps today. But I will say, like 192.71, a 1 to 3 day target above 181.83, holding below 181.83 maintains a 1 to 3 day target down to 167.75, where we can bottom out on a daily basis, potentially into later next week, and if settled below 167.75, would then signal that more meaningful 157.44 within several more days. As I've been saying, it was structured a little differently several days ago, but right now we are in this kind of 3 to 5 day two-sided dynamic with the ceiling at 181.93 and floor at 167.75, and we can continue to trade inside of this area for the next 3 to 5 days. Closing above 181.93 signals 192.71 within 1 to 3 days. Closing below 167.75 indicates 157.44 within 3 to 5 days. If we were to test 192.71 over the next day or two, it would be some variation, as I say, of this 157.44 formation that I would then consider to be a 2 to 3 week target. As far as 157.44 goes, I do need to, and this is something I've been saying now for the last week or two, that given the longer-term bearish dynamic, the bear trend that does exist below 220.18, your next meaningful go-with sell signal on weakness would be a settlement below 157.44. Now, that's obviously not going to happen today, but I'm just kind of giving you the heads up that if over the next 2 to 3 weeks we settle below 157.44, I see that as a meaningful sell signal through June into July. I would anticipate, actually, with a settlement below 157.44, a retest of the 101.81 low from a year ago last January, about a year and a half ago. On the way down, of course, we've got 141.04, that long-term trend line that captured selling pressures about 5-6 weeks ago, but I don't consider this able to contain the next significant low. I do think on the next test, it's highly susceptible to violation. I do think that if we close below 157.44 over the next couple of weeks, that is your downward pivot point aggressively. No good reason to be long Tesla as we move through June, through July even, following a settlement below 157.44. And also, testing 192.71, you can say the same thing. I'm only comfortable being long Tesla as we move into later June, unless we can close above that 192.71 level, which would then set off a 2 to 3 week buy signal to the much more significant 218.99, or in other words, 220.18 on the weekly chart. I think that pretty much covers it. I've said everything about 3 times over at least. So I'm going to leave it at that. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. We offer a 5-day free trial. You can see everything. I'll be back Sunday afternoon with Monday's Tesla report, and you have a great weekend.